right, my sellers, listen in. Just because you spend a lot of money on something doesn't mean that the next buyer is going to be willing to pay more for your house or your property because of it. It's one of the hardest conversations to have in real estate because not every improvement creates equal return value to the seller. And some of the most expensive improvements sellers make create surprisingly little additional value that is perceived in the eyes of the buyers. For example, a homeowner might spend $100,000 on a luxury kitchen remodel because they're foodies and they want restaurant quality appliances. But they live in a neighborhood where buyers simply aren't willing to pay a premium for luxury finishes. Or seller might convert a bedroom into a custom home gym, wine room, make it one big oversized closet, or a hobby space that only appeals to a small percentage of buyers. If that project involved removing the existing closet, you may have created a bigger problem because in many markets, once the closet's gone, that room might not count any longer as a bedroom for appraisal purposes. And that means you've spent money on a renovation that made you happy, but not only appeals to fewer buyers, but may have actually reduced the property's functionality and your appraisal value. So the seller saw an upgrade, but the buyer might just see a missing bedroom. The same thing happens in commercial real estate. An owner might spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on specialized equipment, custom build-outs, or business-specific improvements that the next buyer might not even need. The seller sees cost. The buyer sees a lack of utility that they're going to have to rip out and remodel. So those two things aren't necessarily the same thing. The market tends to reward improvements that appeal to the broadest group of buyers. So you're going to want to make sure that your updates come out clean, updated, functional, and move-in ready to the broadest category. Highly customized improvements often return less than sellers expect because they're solving a problem that not every buyer has. Hi, if we haven't met yet, my name is Laura Boswell, and I sell commercial and residential real estate in the greater Atlanta, Georgia area. This is my Emotional Math of Real Estate series, and if I haven't made somebody mad or hurt some feelings, give me a follow, ask me some questions. So the question on this one isn't how much did it cost for the sellers. The question for the buyers is how much additional value does the next buyer believe they're receiving? Because in real estate, cost and value are very different numbers.